The most celebrated dish from Hungary would have to be the goulash. And usually goulash is slow cooked with a secondary cut like beef chuck steak or some veal. But I'm going to spice it up today, make it a little bit different by using some duck breast. So I'm going to sear it off to start with, and then I'm going to take it out of the pan and put it in at the last minute to ensure that we don't get tough duck. So what I'm doing is taking off the skin. So I don't want the skin for this dish. I'm going to take that off. We'll keep it to the side. Now we're just going to cut it into strips that are about 1 centimetre thick, and I need 4 duck breasts for this recipe. Now you can see just from 4 duck breasts, we've got quite a lot of meat here. So now we need to sear it off. A big saute pan just like this, a good glug of olive oil goes in, and we can start searing it. So it's just flash frying. So as soon as we get a bit of colour, it can be a little bit pink in the centre, essentially just sealing it off. So we'll turn it around, beautiful. Some good colour there, good pinch of salt, and a good crack of pepper. Now that's all the time we need to seal it off, so I'm going to take it out and place it into a bowl just over here, leaving some of the juices in there. And now for some onions. 1 onion that's been finely sliced, 1 capsicum, a nice big red one there. And because I don't have much of the duck fat at all in there, we are going to need a little bit more of that olive oil. And at this stage, I do like to season it with some salt. Give that a toss. Look at those beautiful, vibrant colours. I will add now the garlic, a few minutes, and then I'll start adding the spices. Now let's add some spices. So 2 heaped tablespoons of Hungarian paprika. It's rich, it's sweet, it's got a really delicious red pepper flavour to it. And now some caraway seeds. It's got an anise style flavour. You'll actually recognise the flavour of caraway seeds from rye bread. And now as soon as you start to hear that pop, which I can hear right now, it means that we can add our tomato. So 1 tomato that's been diced, and then we just want to cook that off just for 30 seconds or so, just to start breaking down the tomatoes. And now we can start adding some liquid. So I've got 2 litres of really good quality homemade beef stock here, and you can add many different vegetables to this, but I'm going to keep it simple by adding some parsnip. Now I'm going to cut it quite small, and the reason I'm cutting it small is because I want this to cook quite fast. So we're going to cut that into 3 here, and then a dice. Perfect. So into our stock here. Now this is going to come to the boil, and we really want to reduce this until we've almost got a saucy consistency. Then I'll add my duck. At the moment, we'll put the lid on and just let that bubble away. Now, I'm not serving this with pasta or rice or mashed potatoes. I'm going to keep it quite traditional by serving it with dumplings. And I love to serve with dumplings because you don't have to worry about having another pot onto the boil. It's all done in 1 pan. So we need 6 tablespoons of plain flour. And just to ensure that they rise slightly, a little pinch of baking powder in there. And now I've got about 1/4 cup of milk, and I'm going to break into this jug 2 whole eggs. So wet ingredients together. We'll break those eggs and give that a whisk until it's combined. Perfect. And I'm adding some chives, and we're going to finely chop that. I want the whole bunch of chives for this. It's not only going to look good, but it's going to give it that slight onion flavour, which is what I'm looking for. So nice fresh chives. In with our chives. I told you it's quite a lot, but it makes it extra yummy. And now with a spoon, a wooden spoon, we'll mix that together, make a well in the centre, and then we'll slowly add our egg mixture. So mix it together so there's no lumps until we get a lovely batter, and then I'll just leave this to the side, and we'll start to make these dumplings when we add the duck. So this is reduced quite a lot, half actually. So now we can add our duck just to warm up and just to finish cooking, and all of those cooking liquids that have come from the duck, that needs to go in there because that has so much flavour. It's only going to take 4 minutes, and that gives us just enough time to make our dumplings and cook them. So just with 2 dessert spoons here, we'll get our mix. You don't want them to be too big because they're quite heavy. Think of this as the pasta to this dish or the potato to this dish. So we'll just place them in, and then I'm going to put the lid on, and we're going to cook this for another 4 minutes or until those dumplings are cooked, and then it's ready to serve. Okay, let's take the lid off. And voila, how good does that look? They're not the most attractive dumplings, but they taste so good. So I like to put 3 or 4 dumplings per serving, depending on how large they are, and get a good spoonful of that delicious duck. And I've got some baby parsley here, so I'm just going to use this because I just want to freshen the whole thing up. And there it is, that's my duck-inspired Hungarian goulash, perfect for a very cold winter's night.